When I started out in videography, seeing a rig like this was super intimidating, and I never thought I'd get to the point where I needed a rig like this. But as your experience grows, you might find yourself needing more tools to get the job done. And that is what a rig is for. Every videographer's rig is a little bit different, and they're built to suit that person's needs. So what I'll do in this video is break down my rig and rebuild it. And as I'm doing so, I'll explain every single piece of gear that's in my rig and why I have it there. So here we go. So to start, this is my camera, the Sony a7S III. Now the foundation of every camera rig is a camera cage. This camera cage is made by Small Rig, and it's designed to fit your camera into so that you can attach other things to your rig. Included with this cage is usually some sort of flathead screwdriver so that you can fasten the cage to the bottom of your camera. I lost mine, so I'm using a trusty dime to put mine on. All right, so now that the camera cage is fixed onto the camera, we'll go ahead and introduce our lens. So I'll take the body cover off, and this lens is the Sigma 24-70 f2.8. I really like this lens. It's been great for me. If you don't have a 24-70, super versatile lens, highly recommend one. So I'll go ahead and stick this onto the camera. Now what you'll notice is I did not put the lens on and then the camera cage. I've gone through a few cameras, each with a cage, and I have never been able to put the camera cage on while the lens is attached. The diameter of the lens is usually too big for the camera cage to fit over it. The next thing I'll be attaching is a base for a tripod. You'll understand in a second, but one of the main parts is that when you put this on, it's a pretty steady and stable base for the rig. So I'll go ahead and attach that now. Now that the base is attached to the cage, we'll go ahead and add a couple handles. The one I'll start with is the top handle. This one's made by Small Rig, as is most of the stuff you'll see in this rig. I like this top handle because there are grooves for your fingers to fit and a nice comfy place for your index finger to sit there pretty nicely. There's a cold shoe mount in the front, and there's one in the back here. The cold shoe at the front of the handle has a sort of locking mechanism, which is really nice for keeping your things secure that you attach there. Another nice feature is that there's an included Allen wrench to help fasten your top handle to your cage. So we'll go ahead and get that added right now. All right, that's pretty snug on there, but I'll go ahead and tighten it with the Allen wrench and then stick that back. Now, top handles are essential for steady handheld shots. By holding it with the top handle, you're letting gravity do the work of keeping things still for you. So this side handle is also made by Small Rig. I really like how it feels in the hand. Another feature I like about this is that it also includes an Allen wrench. So we'll go ahead and get this added to the side of the cage. And I, always fasten it as tight as I can by hand, and then finish it off with just another tightening with the Allen wrench. All right, now that that's added, what you'll see is that you have a couple points of contact now. You have the top handle and the side handle. The next thing I'll add is what's called a follow focus. And a follow focus allows you to get really smooth manual focus shots. I'll get this added on and you'll see how it works. All right, so now that we have the mount on, let's go ahead and actually slide the follow focus on. All right, so the way that this works is that the teeth on the follow focus will align with the teeth on the lens, and then you'll be able to rotate it. This is the cinema lens, and you can see that the teeth on it are pretty deep to allow for a follow focus system to attach to it. Because this is not a cinema lens, small rig includes a ring to fit around your lens. So we'll go ahead and attach that. And now that it's attached, we'll be able to attach our follow focus to it as well. Now I like to push it in to make sure I have a really snug fit. Now this is how the follow focus system works. As I rotate this, you'll see the lens also move. When the lens moves to the right, it is bringing the focus closer to the camera sensor. And as it goes to the left, it's pushing the point of focus out further. So we have our cage, our tripod base, top handle, side handle, and a follow focus system. So you might be looking to add a monitor to your rig so that you can see things a bit more clearly, get more information about what's happening in your frame. And so in order for me to attach a monitor to this rig, I'll need a monitor mount. Surprise, this one is also made by Small Rig, and it goes at the front of my top handle. So I'll go ahead and get that added. All right, so now that the monitor mount is added, I'll go ahead and put the monitor on there. This is the Ninja Atomos 5. This is an incredible piece of gear. It's attached by our monitor mount, but we'll need a way to power this. It uses a Sony NPF battery. I really like this one because it gives you information on your battery level, and it's nicely rechargeable. You can use a micro USB or USB Type C, and it's been great to use. I have 4 of them. So now that that's on there, you'll also need a way to connect your monitor to your camera, and the Ninja Atomos 5 uses a full HDMI port, and the Sony a7S III also has a standard HDMI port. Now, Small Rig makes a pretty thin HDMI cord that is also not very long. So this one has just worked out really well, and it does not get in the way that much. So I'll wrap that around the top handle, then bring it back and attach it to the side. So we have handles, we have our follow focus, we have our monitor, and now what we can do is put the finishing touches on here with a matte box. Not only does a matte box look cool, but it also functions as sort of a lens hood for video. So in order to fit my lens on this matte box, I'll use what's called a step-up ring. The opening of the matte box is 95 millimeters. My lens is only 82, so they provide step-up rings so that the circumference of your lens can actually fit into the matte box. So with that, we have a pretty decent rig here. We have, our handles, we have our follow focus, our matte box, and we're looking pretty good. Now, this is great if you're not gonna be out very long. If you have a shoot that's just a couple hours or something, this will work great. But if you need to shoot all day or something like that, you'll probably need a bit more battery power. So that's gonna be the next part of this rig. Now, the first part of the addition to the rig is the base. And what we'll be doing is adding in some rails so that we can attach some other things to this base. So with this base, the first thing I want to do is add another tripod base to it. And this will allow me to set down the rig on a steady, even surface. But also if I need to set my rig down on a tripod, I already have a plate just to stick it right in. So I'll attach this to the bottom here. All right, so that's been attached, And what we'll do now is stick our rails into the openings here. All right, then I'll go ahead and tighten these so that the rails don't slip out. Okay, now that that's been attached, this actually fits the base that we have here right inside it. So what I'll do is actually slide this in, and then I'll secure it by tightening it on the side of the base. All right, and that is our normal rig with some rails added to it. The purpose of adding the rails is so that we can attach a larger battery to our rig. And what's nice about a V-mount battery is that it can power everything you see here, from the camera to the monitor. And so in order to attach this, we'll actually need a mount adapter. And what you'll notice is there are holes on the adapter which can be attached to the rig via the NATO rails here. So we'll go ahead and attach the adapter to the rig, and then we'll just slide this right into the adapter. All right, so that is in. Now what you'll notice here is that the screen of my camera is actually blocked. And so I can't see essential information that would be helpful, like if I'm using autofocus, if the focus is actually on the person's eyes or the subject's eyes. So what I want to do is actually move this back and flip out my screen and then push this back in. So I can see the screen, which is all the essential information I need between that and my Ninja Atomos 5 monitor. So I mentioned that the V-mount battery can power my monitor and the camera. So in order to do that, I'll need to remove the battery to my monitor, set that over here. And I bought this adapter from Condor Blue, which goes into the monitor sort of as a dummy battery, and then attaches to the V-mount battery using what's called a detach. I'll stick that in there. And then the A7S III can be powered via USB Type-C. And so I'll be using a USB Type-C to USB-A cable to attach it here. And now we have a complete rig. It's basically a couple handles, a big battery, a way to pull your focus by itself, a matte box, and a monitor. This helps me to shoot all day, to see all the information I need, to manually pull my own focus, to block out the sun or any overhead lights that I don't want. It also gives you a more professional look. If I'm charging a client $2,000 or $3,000 and show up with just my mirrorless camera, it might not necessarily instill confidence in that client that they'll actually get what they're paying for. So this is just an example of a rig. Hopefully all this made sense to you. If you have questions about the specific products in my rig, I'm happy to answer those for you. If you already have a rig and you have some things in yours that I did not mention, I'd love to know. So if you can let me know in the comments, that would be cool. And if you've gotten anything out of the video, please feel free to drop a like. You can subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss when I post again. And I'll see you guys in the next one.